Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Lionel Smith from Sense Memory, and tonight I'm having a little bit of champagne and going down memory lane. I've been tagged by FragranceMatt to do a tag where you have fragrances that remind you of things. So, it was a very good year, and I will tell you all about it in a few moments. Cheers. So as I said, FragranceMatt tagged me in this tag video where you take a fragrance or a few of them, and I've chosen 3, and you tell about the memories that they bring up for you. And this is really an interesting one for me to do. So thank you, Matt, for asking me to do it, and I'll tag someone at the end. The first year is 1962. That was an amazing year. I was 12 years old. And that year, I discovered so many things. My parents had just been divorced. My mother was single, and that was an exciting time because the world was changing in our lives from a family to a single mother family. And she was dating and she was a very glamorous woman. At the same time, we had the Cuban Missile Crisis that summer where we almost blew up the world. And luckily, President Kennedy saved us from that. And also in Rome at the time, the sexual revolution was being kicked off by Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton on the set of Cleopatra. They really are the father and mother of the sexual revolution, because what happened when they were making Cleopatra, the scandal that happened and the world's reaction, and instead of rejecting them, loving them all the more, that was the beginning of the sexual revolution to my generation, because we were kids watching all of this happen. And if Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton could do it, so could we. So the fragrance that I'm reminded of that year is a fragrance my mother wore, and that's Chanel No. 5. Now, I remember every Christmas, my mother would be so excited, and my aunt and my grandmother too, because each year my uncle Bud, he would bring to them, wrapped up in a little bitty package, the smallest possible version of Chanel No. 5 eau de cologne for my grandmother, my mother, and my aunt. And they would baby those little bottles of Chanel for the whole year until they were just a little bit at the bottom at the end of December. And there would be Uncle Bud with the 3 packages that they always knew was Chanel No. 5. So that is my first memory. The next year is 1975. That was the year I graduated from college, and I moved from a very small town in Northern California, a small college town, way up near the Oregon border, and moved to San Francisco. I had a choice of New York or San Francisco, and New York was a little bit too scary, but San Francisco was just small enough that it felt comfortable. So I came to San Francisco, and that is the same year that this fragrance, Gray Flannel, was introduced. Now I have to say that gray flannel has a lot of bad press these days, and I'm sorry to hear that, because it is really a beautiful, beautiful fragrance. So I remember getting to the city, and I had long, long hair, and coming out of the redwoods down to San Francisco and looking around, discovering that, hey, the age of the hippie had finished, and it was now the dawn of the disco era. And so I went to a beauty parlor downtown, and I said, cut it all off and give me a perm. Yeah, I had a perm in the 70s. So this reminds me of my arrival in this city, this wonderful city that I've loved all these years, and all of the wonderful experiences that first year had for me. So there you have Gray Flannel. Now the third one is from 1978, and that would be Van Cleef & Arpels Pour Homme. This one is a beautiful leather, and this reminds me of, I grew up in Los Angeles as a kid through my teen years and until I went away to college. And I went back in 1978 to visit, and I went down Rodeo Drive, and there was a Van Cleef & Arpels store, and I walked in, and there was this bottle, and it was so beautiful, and I sprayed it on, and I had to have it. And I had it for years and years after that. And I'm reminded of that particular visit to Los Angeles and doing all of the fun things, going down Rodeo Boulevard and seeing Annette Funicello in one of the shops with her mother buying something, and crossing the street and almost being run over by a very old Ray Milland driving his Rolls Royce down Rodeo Drive. I remember also going to a great disco that was called Studio One, which was very near where the Design Center is today in West Hollywood. And it was a wonderful, exciting time. Kind of crazy, but it was a wonderful memory. So whenever I wear this, I remember those great days in Beverly Hills. So there we have my 3 memories, from Chanel to Jeffrey Bean to Van Cleef & Arpels. Thank you, Matt, for tagging me. And let's see, who do I want to tag? I think I'm going to tag again Mr. Smelly, 1977. He's such a good reviewer and has such great stories. So let's see what he comes up with on what fragrances bring memories back to him. This is Lanier Smith from Sense Memory saying, remember, wear what you love and not what they say you should like. Cheers to 1978.